Hey fam, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be creating the look that you see on my eyes today with the brand new BeautyBay Wilderness palette. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and stay tuned. We're going to get into it right now. So before we get into the demo portion of this video, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about this palette. This is the Wilderness palette from BeautyBay. BeautyBay is, I believe, a European retailer and their prices are pretty affordable. This palette comes with 20 shades and it does have a little mirror. There are 13 mattes and 7 shimmers, and I think this color story is absolutely beautiful. This is the very first BeautyBay palette that I ever purchased, even though they have I think it's like Book of Shadows or Book of Magic was really popular. I've heard tons about their new Romance, which is very reddy and warm toned, sunsetty kind of eyes. But this was the first one that grabbed me and pulled me in, and I had to have it. It was so beautiful. So this is another affordable palette to consider if this is in your price range and a color story that you love. The mattes are very pigmented, but I found from my experience that they can blend away a little bit. Sometimes you have to go back and reinforce them, but they are very pigmented and very beautiful and very soft and easy to blend. The shimmers are kind of that wet putty formula, almost like a GlamLite shimmer. And this color story, I mean, there are shifty duochrome shades. This one for sure. I have this in my inner corner. I mean, this reminds me of Moontide from Terra Moon. Beautiful. We have this shifty shade Ray. Oh, and this one's called Ocean. And Ray is kind of a topper green peachy shade. Just really gorgeous shimmers in this palette, and I'll of course include some swatches. I really had fun playing with this palette today, and I really like the look that I created. I wasn't sure for a little bit. I thought we might have been going a little left when I was trying to go right, but I think it all came together in the end. Oh, and I just remembered one more thing I want to show you. This is the outer box that it comes in. So it's kind of like this little, almost like the inside of a tree, like the years of life. And it's pretty thick. It's much thicker than the palette itself, as you can see. But inside this box, BeautyBay shipped the palette in double bubble wrap. So 2 layers, and then the packaging itself, the box it was in had also bubble wrap and tissue paper and all kinds of stuff to keep the palette safe. So I was very happy that it arrived, I believe from overseas, intact and in great shape. Well done, BeautyBay. So without further ado, let's create this look. Y'all, I am so excited for this little palette. This is my very first BeautyBay palette ever. I've seen so many beautiful ones that they've come out with, the Nikki Tutorials palette. They had the Book of Magic palette, which I know was really popular. I think there's one called New Romance I've heard people talking about. And if you're not familiar with BeautyBay, I think they are a European retailer. They're pretty affordable. This one was $15 and shipping only cost me $2, which was incredible coming from Europe, I believe. It arrived in about a week. Definitely like them. I think the shipping is reasonable. I know there are other brands with affordable palettes. One that pops to mind is Colourpop. I know you have to do a 40 or 30 or 40 threshold or something on their site in order to get free shipping. Otherwise, I think it might be $6 or $8 or something like that. So BeautyBay definitely has some great prices if you're looking for a more affordable palette. This one I thought was so beautiful. It absolutely took my breath away the moment that I saw it. I think the color story is incredible. This is so inspiring to me. It's just so beautiful. I also love that this palette doesn't really have any filler shades whatsoever. We've got a matte cream up here that you could use to blend out any of these colorful shades. They do have 2 standard warm tones that we see in lots of palettes. However, it's not half neutral, half colorful, which I'm not a big fan of. So I love that this is mostly colorful. I love that these are all shades that I would actually love to wear. I'm not that huge of a red person, and even the reds in this palette make me want to try them. This is just so unbelievably beautiful, as you guys saw from the swatches. And then of course you've got monochromatic looks across each of the rows. You could build a look right from these rows, which is nice. It kind of lays it out for you, but then you can also mix and match the colors and do a look all your own if you don't want to do something monochromatic. So I'm so inspired. I think that this would be the perfect palette for a multiple look video, but today we're just going to do one look because I do have 2 other videos I need to film today. So I wanted to try this palette out with you guys. I was in love with the swatches and I cannot wait to try this on my eyes. Okay, y'all, we're going in. I'm gonna start with this mustardy yellow shade called Marigold. I'm gonna use this kind of flattish shader brush. And I'm going to try to use as many colors as I can. I'm going to start with this really pretty mustard just here in the inner part of the lid and up into the crease. And we're just going to go for placement first, and then we'll blend. Shades are pretty pigmented, which is great, especially for an affordable brand. It's so pretty. Next, I'm going to dip into this kind of olivey green shade called Leaf. I'm just going to flip my brush over to the other side, and we're going to pack this one in the center of my crease. We're just going to go back with the Marigold shade and just kind of marry those two a bit. And back into the green to just carry this forward in the crease. Next, I'm going to grab this little skinny blending brush and I'm going to dip into Eucalyptus. And we're going to just kind of work this on the outer corner. So have you guys picked up this palette? What did you think when you saw it? I was so in love the moment that it was revealed. I've never felt so like drawn to a BeautyBay palette before. Their color stories are pretty, but none really just like, you know, gave me that I have to have it feeling until this one. It looks kind of cool so far. Then I'm going to reach back into our original brush with that pretty olivey green shade called Leaf. And I'm just going to carry this into our deepest green. Next, I'm going to grab this big fluffy blending brush. This is a larger brush. Probably it would be ideal to use a smaller brush, but this is the one I'm going to use. And I just want to softly blend without taking it up too high. Just want to kind of blend these edges. I'm going to go back in with the Marigold shade and just kind of pop that back in. And the same with Leaf. It looks like it was getting like a little bit patchy right there, but that could have been me. They're certainly blending really beautifully. And for $15, this pigment's amazing. Go BeautyBay. Have you guys tried any BeautyBay palettes? Which ones have you tried? I'm so curious. Pop this green back in our little outer corner. I'm going to catch the other eye up to speed. Now that I have those mattes laid down on both eyes, I'm going to go back in with my NYX Glitter Primer. I'm going to put this all over my lid, then we'll move on to shimmer. So I used my NYX Glitter Primer on both lids, and I think I'm going to reach first into this shade, which is called Ray. It's kind of like a goldy greeny shade, and I'm just going to use this little flat brush, and let's start kind of stamping this on top of that glitter primer right in the front of my lid. This is super pretty. I don't think it's showing up as green on camera. You guys can kind of see that. It's a little bit of a thinner shimmer, a little bit more toppery, but with the glitter glue you get a lot of impact, which is why I love using it. So we'll pop a little bit more of that shade. Okay, next we're going to reach into Lime, this really pretty green shimmer. I'm just going to flip my brush over and we're going to pop this in the center of the lid. We're just going to carry that toward the dark green, but we're not going to go really over the dark green. We're just going to kind of go right up against it. Then going back in with our little skinny blending brush, I'm going to dip back into Marigold, that pretty mustard. And I just want to bring her on back. Just very lightly dusting that along the shimmer. I'm also going to tap back into Leaf, this shade right here. Same little brush, and I just want to run this along the top of the shimmer where the green was laid down. So this is how the eyes are currently looking. I'm going to go ahead and pop on some lashes, and the rest of my base will be back for the lower lash line. Okay, y'all, I'm back, but I'm not finished. I wanted to draw your attention to my concealer. Do you see how disgusting this is? That is this product that everyone raves about, that everybody loves, and I've always hated, and I've been trying desperately to get this product to work for me this entire month. And it always looks like this. And I always think, well, maybe it's me, maybe I did something wrong. Everyone loves this. Why does everyone love this if it looks like this? Do y'all see this? This is what it always does. This is getting decluttered. Spoiler alert for my Shop My Stash, but this is absolutely getting decluttered. I've had to redo my makeup so many times because of this concealer. But I wanted to show you guys firsthand exactly why I hate this so much. Like, what in the heaven's name age rewind, I look like I'm geriatric. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. And then I'm gonna fix my concealer. Okay, so I fixed my under eye with the Kosas concealer. I think this is hydrating enough that it kind of hopefully brought that other one back to life. If you love that other concealer, the Maybelline Age Rewind, God bless you. This just does not work for me. Clearly, you saw what it looks like under my eyes. I know Bailey Sarian uses this in so many of her videos. She looks unbelievably beautiful. It just doesn't work for me, unfortunately. It's always plagued me. It's never liked me. Anyway, let's move on to the lower lash line. So I'm gonna do something a little unexpected. I'm gonna move into these little mint shades. I hope it works out. I have no idea. This is my first time playing with this palette, but I wanted to try to use a little bit more color. So I'm gonna start with this light mint shade, which is actually called Mint. How apropos. So I'm gonna pop this under my lower lash line, just in the front. Okay, I like where this is going so far. Hopefully not famous last words. Next, let's reach into Forest, which is this kind of like tealy bluish green shade, kind of like a deeper mint. Same brush, I'm just gonna run this along the center. This is probably not the best brush for me to be using, but what are we gonna do? And then for the outside of my lid, I'm gonna grab this deepest green called Ivy. If I said lid, I meant lower lash line. It's been a long day after a long week. So I'm gonna pop this on the lower lash line and just meet it up with the deep green we had. Now with this fluffy blending brush, I'm going to go ahead and sweep this under my lower lash line. I don't wanna blow these colors out too much. I just want to soften them. Okay, so now for the lower lash line, I'm going to tap into Breeze, this pretty like kind of aqua mint shade. And we're just gonna pop this at the front of the lower lash line. Right over top of the mat that we laid down. It's nice to know that these adhere pretty well even without a glitter glue. Next, I'm gonna tap into Moss, which is this pretty green shimmer. And these shimmers are almost what, similar to like a GlamLite. I don't know if I like them as much as GlamLite, but they're like along the same lines. They're really pretty though. I would definitely say that the shimmers are like kind of like a puttyish formula. I don't know if that's what you would call it, but you can see how like the shadow moves around in the pan when you dip into it. And now for my final trick, I'm gonna do something totally unexpected that may completely crash and burn, but this shade Ocean is so pretty. It's like a blue purple metallic, and it's not your typical inner corner shade. Normally you would want something kind of light there, but I'm going for it. I really want to play with this color, and there is a little bit of green in it too, so why not? So I pick some up on my brush, and I'm just going to pop this in the inner corner between the top lid and the bottom lower lash line. Definitely not where I would normally use a color like this. But I wanted to see it. It's definitely different. I may have completely just like screwed that up, but it's just makeup. For liner, I'm gonna go with these two Colourpop liners. This one is the Colourpop liquid liner in the Hills. And then we've got this little gel liner in Teaspoon. So I'm gonna throw these on, pop on lashes and a lip color, and we'll be back for the final look. So this is the final look with lashes and a lippy. I'm still using the same old Skanky Kiss lashes I've been wearing. And for my lips, I used Exposed from Kylie, the lip liner, and liquid lipstick. I think this look turned out really pretty. I especially like it after I added the lashes and the lip. I just think it kind of balances the top of my eye. I went a little heavy on the bottom, which I didn't mean to do. And I think it made the top lid look a little bit unbalanced, but with the lashes, it looks a lot better. You can see a little bit of that green liner. That's that Colourpop liner. I have the gel in my waterline. I think it turned out really pretty. I'm actually really excited. I was scared I'd sabotage myself before I have to film 2 more videos. But I really like the way that it turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I had so much fun creating this look for you guys today with the Wilderness palette from BeautyBay. My first time ever using BeautyBay, and I'm pretty excited about it. I will say, I definitely do have some thoughts on this palette. I think that the color story itself, as I mentioned, is absolutely stunning. This is so, so, so beautiful to me. However, the mattes I think fade a little bit. Like I had to touch up the outer corner and add a little bit more matte a couple times. So perhaps it's user error. I did use my GlamLite icing base, which I've been using like which I've been using non-stop, and it's made every single eyeshadow formula I've tried thus far look really beautiful and impactful on top of that base. So I don't think it's the base. As I mentioned, this palette is only $15, so maybe that's a little bit of that cost difference from a more expensive palette to a less expensive palette. Maybe it's the longevity. I'm not really sure. It's my first time using it, but I really do think that these colors are super impactful. The shimmers were really beautiful. I love the matte tones. I think this was such a smart palette. I have so many eyeshadow palettes, so it really takes a lot for an eyeshadow palette to grab my attention, and when I saw this one, it just looked so extraordinary. I love that you do have some neutrals in here, but they're limited. So that if you wanted to do a warm neutral look, you have all the shades that you would need, but you have a lot more to play with. If you're a neutral gal, you could always do like a pop of color on the lower lash line, and this palette gives you a ton of options. Or if you wanted to do more of like a neutral crease, you could pick Marigold or Sunrise, and then you could do a colorful shimmer on the lid if that's a little bit more approachable for you than using like colorful mattes. I just think this is such a beautiful palette. It's affordable. Like I said, $2 shipping. I only ordered this palette, so there wasn't like a minimum you had to hit before it was like affordable shipping. So for $17, I got this beautiful palette in a week, and I think it's really gorgeous. And I had a lot of fun playing with it. This palette actually did remind me of 3 other palettes in my collection, and that is the Vida and the Muerte from Melt Cosmetics. These palettes are discontinued and they are very hard to find. I still have the covers on mine, but these colors definitely remind me of the ones in the BeautyBay palette. That's only 15 bucks. And then in the Muerte, you have those navies, you have mints, and you have some reds. So if you missed out on those palettes and you have a bit of FOMO, I think you can get a lot of similar looks from this beautiful Wilderness palette. Again, very affordable. And the other palette that came to mind was the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I got this for my birthday from Doug. This palette also is reminiscent with the grungier greens and golds, but you also have some blues, you have some reds. I thought this was such a gorgeous color story, and I cannot wait to play with this. But that palette is $129, which is why I asked for it for my birthday. This Wilderness palette, so much more affordable. You still have really gorgeous, impactful shimmers, beautiful mattes, and I think overall this is a really cool palette. I'm definitely looking forward to playing with it more, but I hope that you guys enjoyed the look that I did today. I think it turned out kind of cool. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I thank you all so much for being here with me today. I love you all so much, and until the next video.